I joked I'd cheat if I knew I'd never get caught. My husband heard and handed me divorce papers. I'm sitting on Melissa's plush velvet couch, wine glass in hand, surrounded by the familiar faces of my monthly girls' night. The living room buzzes with conversation and laughter as we're 3 drinks deep into our truth or truth game, a grown up version where the questions get increasingly personal with each round. Okay, Rebecca, your turn, Melissa says, her eyes sparkling with mischief as she tops off my already half full glass. Truth. What would you do if you could guarantee you'd never get caught? I take a long sip of my Cabernet, feeling that familiar warmth spread through my chest. I glance around at my friends' expectant faces and think, they're waiting for something juicy. I should give them what they want. I'd probably have a steamy affair with that hot trainer from my gym, I announce with a dramatic flourish of my glass. The one with the abs you could grate cheese on. I mean, David's great and all, but after 8 years of marriage, a girl sometimes wonders what else is out there, you know? The words tumble out before I can filter them, followed by my exaggerated wink. My friends erupt in scandalized laughter, exactly the reaction I was fishing for. Rebecca, Lisa gasps between giggles. You're terrible. What? It's just a hypothetical, I say, rolling my eyes. Besides, David's so caught up in his work lately, he'd probably not even notice if I did. I lean in, lowering my voice conspiratorially. Last week, I bought this lingerie set that cost more than our monthly utility bill, and he barely looked up from his laptop when I modeled it. I don't notice the living room doorway behind me, where David stands frozen, car keys dangling from his fingers. He had texted he'd pick me up early since he finished work sooner than expected, but I'd been too engrossed in our game to check my phone. Melissa sees him first. Her smile falters as her eyes widen slightly. You know what they say, I continue, oblivious to the shift in the room's atmosphere. Marriage is like a deck of cards. In the beginning, all you need is 2 hearts and a diamond. By the end, you wish you had a club and a spade to bury. Rebecca, Melissa interrupts, nodding subtly toward the doorway. I turn, still giggling, and the laughter dies in my throat. David stands there, his face completely expressionless, which is somehow worse than if he'd been angry. Oh, hey, babe, I say, my voice suddenly too bright, too high. I didn't hear you come in. We're just playing a silly game. I got your texts, he says quietly, and I feel a chill despite the warmth of the wine. I've been parked outside for 15 minutes. I think, shit, I'm busted. But come on, it was obviously just a joke. Ready to go? He asks, his voice strangely hollow. An uncomfortable silence blankets the room. My friends suddenly become very interested in their wine glasses or phones. Sure, yeah, I say, standing up too quickly, nearly spilling my wine. Thanks for hosting, Mel. Great night, everyone. The drive home is excruciating. David stares straight ahead, his knuckles white on the steering wheel. So, I finally venture, how much of that did you hear? Enough, he says simply. David, come on. It was just a stupid game. I was joking around with the girls. He doesn't respond, and I feel a flicker of irritation replacing my initial guilt. What right does he have to be this upset over something so trivial? Seriously, you're giving me the silent treatment? It was a hypothetical question in a game. It's not like I'm actually cheating on you. When we pull into our driveway, I expect him to come inside, where we'd have a proper argument, I'd apologize, and we'd move past this. Instead, he puts the car in park and says, I think I'm going to drive around for a bit. What? It's almost midnight, I say, my voice rising. You're being ridiculous. It was a joke, David. Was it? He asks, finally looking at me. His eyes aren't angry, they're hurt, deeply hurt. Was the part about me not noticing you a joke too, or the part about wondering what else is out there? I open my mouth to defend myself, but he continues. Go inside, Rebecca. I need some time to think. I stomp into our house alone, slamming the door behind me. Fine, I think, kicking off my heels. Let him drive around and sulk. He'll get over it by morning. Except he doesn't come home that night. I wake up alone in our king-sized bed, my head throbbing from last night's wine. Grabbing my phone, I see it's already past 10 a.m. with no messages from David. An uneasy feeling settles in my stomach as I call him, but it goes straight to voicemail. Hey, I say, trying to sound casual. Just checking where you are. Call me back, okay? An hour passes, then 2. By early afternoon, I'm starting to worry. This isn't like David, who's typically so reliable and communicative. I'm sitting at our kitchen island, scrolling through my contact list, when I hear the front door open. Relief washes over me. "Where have you been?" I demand as he walks into the kitchen. "I've been worried sick." David looks exhausted. His clothes are wrinkled, and he hasn't shaved. "I stayed at Matt's," he says, referring to his college friend who lives across town. "You could have told me," I snap, my concern quickly morphing into defensiveness. "I thought something happened to you." "I needed space," he says, walking past me to pour a glass of water. "I still do." I cross my arms over my chest. "Are you seriously still upset about last night? It was a stupid comment at a party game." David sets his glass down carefully. "It wasn't just what you said, Rebecca. It was how you said it. Like our marriage is some kind of joke or burden to you." "Oh my God," I groan, rolling my eyes. "You're being so dramatic. If I'd known you'd react like this, I never would have." "Never would have what?" he interrupts. "Been honest about how you feel?" "That's not how I feel," I protest. But even as I say it, I wonder if there's some truth to his words. Haven't I been feeling restless lately, taken for granted? But that's normal in any long-term relationship, isn't it? "I think we need to take a hard look at our marriage," David says, his voice steady but sad, "because I don't want to be with someone who sees me as the boring consolation prize." "I never said that." "You didn't have to." He turns away. "I'm going to shower and change. I have a meeting with a client at 2. As he walks upstairs, I sit there fuming. Typical David, I think. Always running away from confrontation, hiding behind work. I pull out my phone and text Melissa. "David's still freaking out over last night. Can you believe it?" "Honestly, Beck, what you said was pretty harsh." Her response stuns me. I expected sympathy, not criticism. "It was a game. You know I love David. Do you, though? Because lately it seems like you're always complaining about him." I stare at my phone in disbelief. "At 2, Melissa? Wow. Thanks for the support." I toss my phone aside, even more irritated than before. First David, now my supposed best friend. Why is everyone overreacting? When David comes back downstairs, freshly showered and dressed for his meeting, I try a different approach. "Look," I say, softening my voice. "I'm sorry if what I said hurt you. It was thoughtless." He pauses, briefcase in hand. "Thank you for apologizing." I smile, relieved. "So we're good?" "No, Rebecca, we're not good," he says gently. "An apology doesn't erase the fact that you publicly humiliated me and our marriage." My smile falters. "I didn't. I need to go," he cuts me off. "We can talk more tonight." But when evening comes, David texts that he's working late. The next night, he has dinner with a client. By the third day of this avoidance dance, I've had enough. I'm standing in our bedroom doorway, watching David silently pack an overnight bag. "Seriously, you're staying at Matt's again?" I demand. "Just for a few days," he says without looking up. "I think we both need some space to figure things out." "Figure what out?" "This is absurd, David. You're blowing one stupid comment completely out of proportion." He zips his bag closed and finally meets my gaze. "This isn't about one comment, Rebecca. It's about a pattern." "What pattern?" I scoff. "The constant little digs, the eye rolling when I talk about work, the comparisons to other men, the jokes at my expense in front of our friends." His voice remains calm, which somehow makes it worse. "I've spent years trying to convince myself it was just your sense of humor, but I'm tired of being the punchline in your life." I feel my face flush with anger and something else, guilt maybe, but I push it aside. "So that's it? You're just going to walk out because your feelings are hurt?" "I'm taking a step back before I say or do something I'll regret," he says, picking up his bag. "I'll call you tomorrow." As he walks down the stairs, I follow him, a sense of panic rising in my chest. "You know what? Fine," I call after him. "Go ahead and run away, instead of dealing with this like an adult." Typical David move. He pauses at the front door, turns to look at me one last time, and says softly, "That right there. That's what I'm talking about." The door closes behind him, and I'm left alone in the sudden silence of our home. 2 weeks pass in an uncomfortable limbo. David and I communicate sporadically through terse text messages. He's still at Matt's, and I've told myself and anyone who will listen that he's having some kind of midlife crisis over a harmless joke. I'm in our kitchen, aggressively chopping vegetables for a dinner I'm making myself, when my phone buzzes with a text from Lisa. Hey, just checking in. How are you holding up? I'm fine. David's being ridiculous, but he'll get over it. Saw him at the gym yesterday. He looked different. Something cold settles in my stomach. Different, Haumer? Happier? Just thought I'd mention it. I put down my knife, irritation building. Happier without me? After 8 years together? Well, good for him. Glad someone's enjoying this ridiculous situation. Have you guys talked to anyone? Like a counselor? I scoff out loud at my phone. We don't need a counselor. We need David to grow up and come home. Maybe. Just seems like a shame to throw away a marriage over one fight. Her words hit harder than I expected. Is that what's happening? For the first time, I consider that David might not be coming back. Later that night, I'm sitting on our couch, a glass of wine in hand, scrolling through old photos on my phone. There we are in Cancun 3 years ago. David's arm around my waist, both of us sun-kissed and smiling. There's our road trip to the Grand Canyon, David looking adorably dorky in his hiking gear. Christmas at his parents' house last year, me wearing the necklace he saved up for months to buy me. I think maybe I've been taking him for granted. I dial his number before I can talk myself out of it. Rebecca, he answers, sounding surprised. Hey, I say, suddenly nervous. I thought maybe we could talk, in person, maybe dinner tomorrow? A pause on the other end. Okay, he finally says. There are some things we should discuss anyway. That doesn't sound good. Great, how about Marcello's at 7? Sure, he agrees. I'll see you then. I hang up, a mixture of hope and dread swirling in my chest. I'm sitting at a corner table at Marcello's, nervously checking my watch. It's 7:10 p.m., and David is never late. Just as I'm about to text him, he walks in, and my heart does a little flip. He looks good. Too good. His hair is freshly cut. He's wearing a new shirt I've never seen, and there's something different about him, a confidence, a lightness that wasn't there before. Sorry I'm late, he says, sliding into the seat across from me. Traffic was worse than I expected. It's fine, I say, studying his face. You look well. Thanks, he replies simply. How have you been? Small talk. After 8 years together, we've been reduced to small talk. I've been better, I admit. The house feels empty without you. He nods but doesn't take the bait. I ordered a bottle of the Chianti you like, I add, gesturing to the wine. I thought, I don't know, maybe we could toast to a fresh start. David's expression softens slightly, but then he reaches into his jacket pocket and pulls out an envelope. What's that? I ask, though a part of me already knows. Divorce papers, he says quietly, placing them on the table between us. I didn't want to do this in a restaurant, but I also didn't want to do it at the house. I stare at the envelope as if it might burst into flames. Divorce papers, I repeat, my voice barely audible. Are you serious? I've had a lot of time to think these past couple weeks, he says, his voice steady but sad. And I realized something important. I deserve better than how you've been treating me. David, it was one stupid joke. It wasn't just the joke, Rebecca, he interrupts. That was just the final straw. It's been a pattern for years. The constant belittling, the disrespect, the way you dismiss my feelings. That's not fair, I protest, feeling tears prick at my eyes. We've been happy. Have we? He asks, genuinely curious. Because I haven't been happy in a long time. I've been trying, hoping things would get better. But that night at Melissa's made me realize they won't. Not as long as I keep accepting being treated like I don't matter. The waiter approaches with our antipasto, takes one look at my face, and discreetly retreats. So you're just giving up? I whisper, a tear sliding down my cheek. 8 years of marriage and you're walking away over one bad night? I'm not giving up, he says gently. I'm choosing to value myself, something I should have done a long time ago. I push the envelope back toward him. I'm not signing these. This is ridiculous, David. We need to talk about this, maybe see a counselor. I've already started seeing a therapist, he says, surprising me. It's been really helpful, actually. Made me see how much I've been compromising my own happiness to try to make you happy, and failing at both. I feel like I've been slapped. So this is all my fault? No, it takes two people to make a marriage work, or fail, he acknowledges. But I need to take responsibility for allowing the dynamic to continue. I should have stood up for myself years ago. I look at this man, my husband, and suddenly feel like I'm seeing a stranger. Where's the David who would do anything to avoid conflict? Who would apologize even when I was clearly in the wrong, just to keep the peace? What happened to you? I ask. He gives me a sad smile. I finally realized my worth. We sit in silence for a long moment. The restaurant buzzes around us, other couples laughing, enjoying their meals, oblivious to the fact that my life is imploding at table 9. I think I should go, David finally says, standing up. Take some time to think about the papers. My lawyer's information is inside if you have questions. David, please, I say, reaching for his hand. Don't do this. I love you. He gently extracts his hand from mine. I think you love the idea of me, Rebecca, the reliable guy who's always there, who you can count on no matter how you treat him. But that's not love, not really. As he walks away, I'm left sitting alone with an untouched antipasto platter, a bottle of expensive wine, and divorce papers. I'm standing in my kitchen a week later, staring at the divorce papers spread across the island counter. My attorney's notes are scribbled in the margins, outlining the reasonableness of David's terms. He's not trying to take me to the cleaners. In fact, he's being more than fair. The doorbell rings, startling me. When I open it, I find Melissa standing there with a bottle of wine and a sympathetic smile. Thought you could use this, she says, holding up the bottle. I step aside to let her in, grateful for the company despite our text argument. So it's really happening? She asks, as I pour us each a glass. Looks that way, I say, gesturing to the papers on the counter. My lawyer says I'd be stupid not to sign them, given how generous David's being. Melissa takes a sip of her wine. Have you talked to him? I mean, really talked? He won't take my calls anymore, I admit. Everything goes through the lawyers now. I saw him yesterday, she says carefully, at that new coffee shop downtown. I tense. And? He was with Katie from his office. They looked comfortable together. The jealousy that rips through me is so intense it takes my breath away. Katie, that mousy little accountant? I try to sound dismissive, but my voice cracks. She's not so mousy anymore, Melissa says gently. New haircut, more confident. They were laughing about something when I walked in. I drain half my glass in one gulp. They're just colleagues. Maybe, Melissa shrugs, but he looked happier than I've seen him in years. The words sting, mainly because I suspect they're true. What happened to us, Mel? I ask, my voice small. I mean, I know I can be a bit much sometimes, but I never thought he'd actually leave. Melissa puts her glass down and looks at me directly. Do you want the real answer or the friend answer? The real one, I say, bracing myself. You treated him like he was disposable, she says bluntly. Like you were doing him a favor by being with him. We all saw it, me, Lisa, everyone in our circle. The way you'd cut him off when he was talking, how you'd roll your eyes behind his back, the constant little digs. I didn't, I stammer, but she continues. Remember my birthday dinner last year? David was telling that story about his promotion, and you interrupted him to say, God, David, no one cares about accounting. Tell them about the resort I found for our anniversary instead. The memory hits me like a physical blow. I do remember that night. The flash of hurt in David's eyes before he obediently changed the subject. Oh my God, I whisper, covering my mouth with my hand. I really did that, didn't I? That was just one time, Melissa says. There were dozens of moments like that. I sink onto a kitchen stool, the weight of realization crushing me. Why didn't anyone say anything? Lisa tried once, remember? You didn't speak to her for 2 weeks. Another memory surfaces. Lisa gently suggesting I was a little hard on David sometimes, and me freezing her out, convinced she was jealous of my marriage. I'm a terrible person, I whisper, tears welling up. No, you're not, Melissa says, squeezing my hand. You're human. We all have blind spots. But if you want any chance at fixing this, you need to see what David saw and do better. It's a rainy Tuesday afternoon 3 months later. I'm sitting in my therapist, Dr. Keller's office, where I've been coming weekly since signing the divorce papers. How are you feeling about the finalization hearing next week? She asks. I twist the now empty ring finger on my left hand. Sad, resigned, a little hopeful, maybe. Hopeful? Not about saving the marriage, I clarify. That ship has sailed. David's officially with Katie now. It's on Facebook and everything. I try to keep the bitterness out of my voice. I mean, hopeful that I'm learning, growing, that I won't make the same mistakes again. Dr. Keller nods encouragingly. What's the most important thing you've learned from this experience? I think about it for a moment. That love isn't just a feeling, it's how you treat someone every day. It's in the small moments, the little choices to build someone up instead of tearing them down. That's a powerful insight, she says. Too bad I realized it too late, I say with a sad smile. As I leave the session, my phone buzzes with a text from Lisa. Dinner tonight? The new Thai place on Main? I hesitate only briefly before responding. Actually, I have tickets to that community theater play I mentioned. Want to join instead? Theater was always David's thing, not mine. I used to tease him mercilessly about his love for local productions. Now I'm trying to understand what he saw in them. Sure, 7 p.m.? Perfect. And thanks for sticking with me through all this. I know I haven't been easy. Growth looks good on you, Beck. I pocket my phone and step out into the rain, opening my umbrella. Across the street, I spot a familiar figure coming out of a coffee shop. David, with Katie beside him, sharing an umbrella. He's laughing at something she said, his arm around her shoulders. A familiar pang hits me, but it's duller now. Instead of the burning jealousy I once felt, there's a wistful sadness tinged with something new. Acceptance. Maybe even a touch of happiness for him. He deserves this. He deserves someone who celebrates him instead of diminishing him. As they walk away, I turn in the opposite direction, heading toward my car. I have a theater program to read before tonight and a new understanding to cultivate of myself, of what went wrong, and of how to do better next time. Because there will be a next time, eventually. And when it comes, I'll remember the lesson that cost me my marriage. Love isn't proven in grand gestures or passionate declarations. It's in the everyday choice to respect, to value, to cherish. It's in what you say when you think no one who matters is listening, because someone who matters always is.